The EGFH returns for week 5 of play. We kick things off as we do every week with more Valorant action. I'm Time Delight. Joined alongside me is Nerds Corner. We start things off with BTPS taking on the Rockford Rams. Orange and Nerds, two teams that are somewhat middle of the pack at this point. Talk to me about them.
Well, I mean, BTPS is going to be 5th. So the Polar Bears are 5th with 3 played games. That means they're going to have a bit more experience. 1 win and 2 losses, 0 forfeits. So they never had to drop a map. In comparison, Rockford is in 3rd with 2 played. So a touch less experience. And they only played one of those 2 out. The other one was a forfeit on the enemy's team. So they only have 1 game of experience. Will the experience win out, or are the standings correct? Rockford, Rams, Orange team, it's, they're 3rd, so they have a little bit higher up there. They have a little bit more to work with and a little bit more to lose if they end up falling.
Yeah, well, we've talked about the teams. Let's take a look over at our maps and see where our 2 Titans will be taking on one another. The lack of a logo, for all of you curious as to what the heck is going on, is BTPS. It's the Polar Bears. And ironically enough, the lack of a logo pops up on Icebox as the Polar Bears are going to home base. They will play in the frozen tundra.
And then we're going to be moving on to everyone's favorite map, Ascent, with Split being the decider. No one's. What do you mean? It is the proving grounds for most players. But we're going to be since we're going to be starting off on Icebox, the Polar Bears are looking to get aggressive here and hopefully win out on their home turf. Icebox, it's a very open map. In my opinion, I really enjoy it. I really like it, especially on attack. It feels a little bit more like a shooting gallery in some areas and a little bit more tactical in others. That dichotomy allows for a variety of play styles. Regardless of the situation, we're going to be seeing BTSD. That is going to be the Polar Bears over on the defense side, as well as the Orange Rams over on the attack side.
Again, lack of a logo, we will just move past it. BTPS is on your left, the Rockford Rams are on your right, hence the Ram that's at least on the right side of your screen. And the BTS squad is actually playing on the team computers, hence the reason that everybody has the exact same name minus a number. Away from that conversation, more towards composition now. You can see Sage being brought through by D4, whereas across the board you have basically normal compositions. The one thing I'm surprised about is actually the Brimstone on the board.
I think Brimstone, especially with some fun lineups, could work out for them. And I will say, for the Polar Bears, you get to play in person. You get to play with your team, and that's a little bit fun there, right? Yeah, you have that LAN experience, that vibe. I think it's very fun, right? You get to, someone does a good play, everyone crowds around him,
Fist bumps on LAN.
Yeah, oh yeah. Fist bumps on LAN is very fun. That being said,
I have to say, I'm a proponent of it. But on the other side, I want to take a look at the contrast. We've run out of time. So everybody's locking in a Breach and Sova up against a KO Brim.
I like it. I think a Breach is kind of underrated, especially in this level of play. Breach is extremely useful, especially if you know how to play out against an opponent. Double initiators have been dominating Valorant for a while, and especially with our newly added friend Gecko, it's not too surprising to me to see if we'll see more double initiator compositions in favor of the traditional. I think it's traditionally no controller double initiator. You have Sova KO on Icebox with Viper acting as a Sentinel controller type of beat. It's Sentinel in the fact that you have to set up the utility, but it is a controller since the utility is a smoke and provides cover. So you have that. Then you usually have a Sage, the real Sentinel with the wall and the slow. And that's usually the 3-piece that you see. Sage, Viper, and Sova are the 3 that you normally see, and the last initiator is usually a KO, mainly because that there's a lot of lineups that 0 point provides a lot of utility and value to lock down traditionally a Jet. That's a traditional composition. I would say traditionally a Bladestorm from the Jet is a good counter. The 0 point's a good counter to that.
Lush is already pushing in. It seems like the Rams want to get things started early, and Zash will find the opening kill. Information gained as to the Jets' whereabouts as well. The fault line just barely misses, but the Rams already take site control. Tailwind onto site, and that is a suicide mission if I've ever seen one. Spike plant for the Rams.
Rez, ironically, changing things up, not going for that, instead going for the frags. Gets another one off on Brim. It's last player standing. It's this lonely KO up against 5. Low HP on the Viper, but it's Lush who he's gonna find. Not able to convert on all of that information. Unfortunately, falls to Rez. 4 players left alive for the Rams.
Talk about proactivity. The Rams basically waited all of 6 or 7 seconds after the recon bolt went off and just held W. And for all of you wondering, we are just going to use the agent names for the Polar Bears because of the lack of actual names on the team. So if you're ever wondering who we're talking about, we'll probably say Polar Bears Jet or something along those lines, or Defensive Jet. You get the general idea. But the Rams on the other side, with Lushy's just holding W and Zash there for support, there was really no way that anybody on the Polar Bears, no matter who it was, could have done anything about it.
And I feel like Icebox is one of those maps, like I said, it's kind of a shooting gallery at sometimes where you can just run in there. There are a lot of plays that you can do, especially with Lush just running in there, and Sage answering in full Battle Sage action for the Polar Bears. But that tactics, it's not going to work out. There's a pinstripe. Zash is going to answer for the Fallen Jet. And as fast as they got it, they lost it from the back. Jet's able to find one more, and Sage finds a 3-piece for themselves. What an interesting round. It was the convert round. It was the conversion for the Rams, and they were not able to win out. And this is where
mostly is safe.
Yeah, it is mostly safe. I was gonna say the shooting gallery.
I was a little surprised.
The shooting gallery becomes a tactical battlefield.
I do enjoy the tactical play, especially when you have what seems just like a firefight on a site. I'm a little surprised, to be completely honest with you, that the Polar Bears were able to come back in that with, again, how quickly the Rams played it. But with them losing that round on the Rams side, you talked about it. It was a conversion round. They bought up. They are mostly broke. Not a whole lot of credits to work with, so they will mostly save. Jet here will look to aggress in towards mid, gain any semblance of control they can early on, but good Poison Cloud should create a little bit of space for them, and Rez gets D3 through that Poison Cloud. The opening kill and a follow-up onto Jet will fall. The Polar Bears down 2, now just down 1 early.
And there is the trade that they needed, at least something, so you could take some control back into this round. You got to use up that tailwind. You got to confuse them dashing into the wall. And there we go into the open arms. Oh no, indeed. Spyro finds one, but instantly that this is becoming a hard battle for the Polar Bears. They are down to 2 players left, now down to 1, as nobody, you know, you're definitely a somebody here. You're able to grab one. Same thing with Viper on the Polar Bear side.
Well, they decide to use a toxic screen. That's just to create a little bit of space. They will decide to go up towards kitchen and around towards the site from up above, assuming they actually even try this re-engagement. I do not think this is going to be around for the Polar Bears. Toxin's already low here for D2. Not much they can do with it. They will try to aggress, but with the spike planted out in the open easily for main, there is not a dang thing they can do about this round. They will clear hell, and then they will be sent there, as the Rams will cleanly deny the opposing conversion round post-pistol and put themselves right back in the lead.
Well, I mean, they get the back and forth. It's now going to be the rifle round for some of these teams. Somebody, nobody, sticking with their guns, trying to bonus that utility as much as they can. But I do also want to note the economy, it's starting to grow in favor of the Rams. The Orange Rams have now 4K creds for 2 of their players. In comparison, the Polar Bears need to buy up here. Now, their economy is a bit more evenly spread out. It's a broken buy, but an even economy. Now, you want to make sure to balance your economy with your teammates. The unevenness from the Rams, if they lose, will spell disaster for them. There's that fault line. Almost gets the Jet, but dashing out of the way just in time.
Ooh, Lushy's finding the opener though. The Sage is taken care of. Some nobody on the back end has a dink long range, but not a lethal one at that. D2's spray does not land, and there's the finish on towards the KO. That should be the round with,
wow.
with the Viper quickly falling. A team ace comes through, and the Rams very quickly leading themselves into these round victories. I have to say, one small criticism for the Polar Bears. Please don't ADS as much as you are. Please stop.
I would say this. ADSing isn't as should not be as vilified as some people think it is, especially because at long range it is actually really, really good in comparison to not ADSing. Anything that is medium range to medium long range, you should not ADS. Anything that is above, like, I would say 30 to 40 meters out, that just depends on the situation entirely. But as you can see, Lush doesn't need an ADS at all. They just need to push in, press the W key. 2 taps does not go out for the Sova drone. It just barely kept alive. But Zash is able to get one more. Somebody, nobody. Someone, no one gets 2 more. Switching to the secondary for the added support. And it's going to be 1 versus 5. Now 1 versus 5 or 0 versus 5. No one's left alive. Rez with the plant. And that is going to be 3 rounds up for the Rams.
3 in a row at that. And the Rams are just continually holding W. They have the speed and they have that quick momentum around the squad. When you play together, especially as they have, there's not much that the Polar Bears can do. And I think the main reason I was bringing it up when I did is because the Polar Bears are taking a little bit too long to adjust when you ADS. If you ADS when you see somebody, let's play the game of hypotheticals. Let's say you see somebody and you start shooting them immediately. You have a pretty good reaction time. But if you wait to ADS until you see them, and then you wait to shoot until you're in your crosshair, you just added a whole lot of time between you seeing them and you having the opportunity to kill them. In this case, the Rams are just holding W, and it's working out perfectly for them. They have found 4 kills in the first 20 seconds of the round. D5 on the KO is in a 1 versus 5, and they have to retake an entire site on their own. Granted, they have a full kit of utility, but very little time to work with considering, well, they have very low HP, even worse now. What a shock dart.
I see those puns. That Viper play, I think it was to bait out any players, potentially, so then the Sage for the Polar Bears could hide in that little rat angle on top of vents, on top of, I think it's like 503 box. It's just one of those funky names, but you're hiding in that little rat spot trying to get some picks. But unfortunately, Zipline, if you're gonna W key as a player, you check every corner, and thankfully Lush knows that. And so they're, all right, cool, we're going to go in here, but we're going to check all our corners. They check it. The rat spot doesn't work out. They're not able to convert on it, and that is going to spell them some disaster. But this is where the economy starts to really play into effect. There's so much economy stacked in favor of the Rams right now that they're just confidently pushing in, even more so than they were before. Interesting sprays go out, but there is another interesting spray. Jet for the Polar Bears, able to grab 2. Now a 3. It takes down Luscious, one of the entries for them. They can W key all they want, but when you have the confidence unwavering and built up, right? You've been down, you've been losing, but it doesn't matter if you're losing. You just got to keep playing confident. You have nothing to lose, nothing to gain but victory. And that is going to give the Polar Bears so much confidence here. 3, now 4 players. I think, are they hunting for the ace?
I don't know, but they better not be, because A, that was only a 3K, so they'd only have a 4th, and B, the spike's about to be planted on the B side, with the recon bolt being thrown towards attacker spawn. There's so much time for you to work with if you're on this attacking side. Spyro Pro should get a spike plant out in the open, but they have to do so sooner rather than later. If they take too long, then they're just going to allow the full rotation. The question is, do they go for the backstab? The answer seems to be yes, but still, you have the problem of being held from mid, and all this safety you thought you had, you may no longer possess in the next 4 or 5 seconds.
And I think we're about to see 2 players meet up, but I think it's going to be in favor of Spyro. There's the first contact. You now need to play fast. You need to play quickly. The plant is going to go down almost immediately afterwards. That ultimate goes out. Smart plays indeed. Playing against that ultimate recon bolt as well. I wonder if they have lineups from here. I would assume not, because it is such an it's such an interesting plant. They do have a Hunter's Fury. Yes.
That's the one thing that matters. They've made a sound cue, though. They should both know that he's close. He at least finds a dink onto D2, but the Brimstone return, the controller duo up against just the initiator, and it is indeed the controller duo to come out on top. The 1-for-1 trade plays in their favor. They play the 2v1 as they should together, and they win the round off the back of it.
In the game of numbers, you should always win out, especially if you have it in your favor. That being said, this is going to be the first round for the Polar Bears off the aggression and the backbone of the Jet for the Polar Bears. D1 looking to get that #1 spot on the stat board and push forward in kills and eliminations for their team. The thing is, you have that aggression now. How is it going to be answered? The Rams, they're not known for, they're pretty good, right? They're third in the standings. They play really well. They play really confidently. So it's not going to be surprising if they adapt relatively quickly. And we already start seeing that adaptation. They were just W keying onto A site, but now it's a little bit more methodical, a bit more spread out. The fake wall on A and the push to B. It's going to change up some of their strategy, but that doesn't matter as KO is able to just spam down. Interesting, the ADS, but it worked out in their favor. They're able to get out that resurrection. No more can players come back to life.
Viper's Pit already used here for the attacking side. They should be able to get a spike plant off of this. There is no direct line of sight to the default spike plant position, and some nobody playing in front of that wall. The issue is, it's already 2 kills found. D1, Tailwind outside of the Viper's Pit, just trying to play aggressive, but all the sound cues they've made, there should be more than enough information for this. There's the swing, but there's the kill for Zash. Back to the 3 versus 3. By no means is there an advantage anymore here for the Polar Bears, especially with that spike plant. Good swing from D3, looking for another onto Spyro. They're shooting just to try and get them out of position. There's a flank coming from behind, but all the sound cues have been made by D4. They started walking just way too late, and because of it, they will fall, as will the Brimstone. It's down to the clutcher of 2 rounds ago and a 1v2 once more. The problem is a wall between them and the spike and very little time between the round ending and now. That should do it, and it will indeed, with some nobody finding the final kill required. Eloquently played by the Rams Orange squad as they will pick up their 6th.
I could see what you were talking about, TTL. I could see the light, as some would say, but the ADS it's a questionable ADS. They saw a player, they ADS'd. I get it. It was at longer range, and you have a Spectre, so you want to have that advantage there. But I mean, you made the sound cues, all that fun stuff. I mean, in that situation, Sova was close enough for the Polar Bears Sage to, in theory, take them down with good recoil control. So that was an unfortunate situation. But now that I've seen the light, I also need to fall into the darkness and talk about how, in some situations, it is still good to ADS. Ooh, they prove me wrong almost instantly. just spraying players down, making it 3v5 Hunter's Fury and Bladestorm available for the Rams to keep securing it over and over again. I guess no time for analysis. They just want to play their game.
Analysis is overrated. Just hold W, monkey the game. That's all you got to do. Some nobody is doing exactly that, holding W. Unless she's going to find the freest kill they've ever found. Please go for the knife. He doesn't. Unfortunate. Still around. ADS. Still a kill. Yeah, but the difference is he not only saw the player, slowed down, and most importantly, D5 wasn't looking. The Rams Orange still looking clean. They're looking decisive. I think that's the most important part about this. In very few situations has it been, I'm going to counterintuitate myself.
Counterintuitive?
The verb of counterintuitive. I don't know what it is. But counteract myself?
Counteract?
Words are hard. You get
words are overrated as well, as we're just gonna get straight into the action back and forth. Although if you can ever find out that verb, we got the interwebs, you can see it. And now I'm just curious, what verb were you referring to?
I'm trying to find out. There is no verb version of counterintuitive.
There is, I would not expect there to be. Speaking of which, the ADS goes out. It doesn't work. Luscious is able to grab them, and that is again on the back burner. They've been playing before the Polar Bears. they're looking a little bit worse for wear. There's that Marshall, doesn't work out. Luscious has a Vandal in hand, and they're just a bit quicker to the draw. And here we see the masterful ADS, right? You ADS on long angles that you can hold, and you don't ADS when you are peeking. Finds one more for the road. There's the plant. One player left. They're being shot at all sides, all cylinders, and Luscious finds themselves a 4-piece. Tenders with some fries. Tenders with some fries.
I did not know you were going further with that one. I'm very happy you did. The Rams Orange, I've also found that with their decisiveness comes awareness. When they're switching sides, they know where their weaknesses lie. For instance, that swing out from this very room you're looking at, Luscious was just able to quickly turn on it. And the other problem, I was talking about ADSing only for the Polar Bears, they also move a little bit when they shoot. Movement and accuracy, unfortunately, in Valorant is a thing contrary to some Overwatch players, or if you play Doom, not a thing there. So,
Rainbow?
Make sure you don't move. Actually, it's not a thing in Rainbow. You do have perfect movement accuracy. But, I mean, the problem is just not making those minor adjustments on a continuous basis, and that's honestly, in combination with not knowing, that's what's costing.
I think on a personal note, when I first came into this game, I came from controller on Rainbow Six, so I was playing, that was never mouse and keyboard, and I was playing on controller at I would say a high level. Like, you know, I got into Challenger once before Malusi came out, so I was having a fun time. But it was such a weird shift change, so I could completely empathize with the Polar Bears here. It's difficult. It's a lot harder than you would expect to switch your brain in the way that you think into a different format. Now, a year later, I do have the confidence to say I am okay at Valorant. I would not say good. I am okay at it. But at the same time, it is difficult. Ooh. Speaking of which, it's interesting that the Breach is named Rez. They're not going for the Sage plays. The puns would have been immaculate there, hopefully in the next game. But at least they're going to be going against their name, taking players down. Almost getting another one, but Zaysh who steals that.
It should be a very quick entanglement as well. Bladestorm and Hunter's Fury dropped on top, and Lush is just adding style to it. Orbital Strike is available. As soon as they try to initiate the Spike Plant, it may cost them, but the Orbital Strike goes out, and not a Spike Plant to be seen. Lushes will find all 3 of the final kills, all with the Bladestorm, adding insult to injury and a little knife to the backside of the Polar Bears.
And this is Polar Bears maps. It's their den. They're sleeping. They're lying in here. It's, you know, it's comfy cozy for the Polar Bears, but unfortunately, it seems like the Rams are making their way through. They're breaking down the ice, ramming through it, as some would say, but it's just going to be difficult for them to find some ground here. Now, personally speaking, I think that the attack side is the side for this map. When you are on attack, you have a lot of advantages. I always meme on the fact, and a lot of people do in the community, that it is basically a shooting gallery going onto A site. It is open as all. You could just kind of walk in there. And same thing on B. It's really difficult unless you have an operator or a Bladestorm to contest B main. It is difficult. Flashes and utility can really easily clear that space and give it to you for free. Same thing with mid. A lot of this map is open, and therefore attack side can win out. Now, the Polar Bears being on attack hopefully can find something here, as the trades are already going out. BT4, there's the Sage. Battle Sage is able to grab 2.
Spike planted.
Double and a 4v3 here, favoring the Polar Bears on a retake that the Rams Orange are forced into. Some nobody does not want to play on the other side of that toxic screen, so instead will play with the rest of the squad. Picks up a Sheriff, most importantly, and Spyro Pro picks a kill off nonetheless. A 2v4 now, or 2v3, as the Polar Bears have lost most of their advantage. This recon will find D1, who suck out in the open, and a perfect collapse onto what was a lackluster hold is exactly what the Rams Orange needed, as they will find the pistol and an 11th.
That was a really good round. They had a decent amount of advantages starting off for the Polar Bears. They were able to push in. They were able to do some damage, able to get some numbers. They were not able to hold it. And that's the thing. When you plant the spike, you got to keep that thing alive, keep it running like a 6th player, basically. You need to make sure that it's there, and you got to play objective. Unfortunately, with the way that things worked out, they were not holding their crosses, they were not dotting their T's and their I's. It was a little bit of chaos. And now they have to buy up here. They need to force up so they can have any shot of winning. But this interesting play from Lush, I don't know if it get called out or not, but there we go. It gets punished. The trades are coming out right off the bat. But it is in favor of the Rams so far as they have the player up.
Good enough. That's what they needed. An opening kill, plus a trade 1-for-1. You find a man advantage, and you can play off the back of it. And at this point, especially for the Rams, if they can turn this into a round victory, that should end the map. Information gained there for Spyro. They're well aware of the fact that a B-side push is inevitable. D2 will throw out that Poison Cloud just to create a little bit of space. The problem is all the utility available for Rams Orange means no safe plant spot is available. They will walk straight into that Poison Cloud, straight into that snake bite, and straight into the crossfire as the Rams Orange will find map point on the Polar Bears map pick of Ascent.
It's gonna be the threat of match point looming over on any team can make them play astronomically they do so much better sometimes, but it is at such a high pressure. It's like a pressure cooker. Sure, the things get cooked faster. Some things are yummy. Some things are tastier, but it is under a lot of stress. It's very difficult to control that and to climb up this mountain like Everest, icy as it is. You have to make sure you don't slip, you don't fall, and you push through. Now, for these players, it is their map choice, and we do see a lot of like dichotomy where people play on their map and they lose, and then they switch to the enemies and they win. So we'll see if that can come true in this game, you know, like a fairy tale. But again, it is a huge maybe. It's a huge what if, and what ifs are very difficult for teams to play on and play in. Doesn't give too much hope. That's all they have right now as the site take commences.
Perfect snake bite. Perfect snake bite, walking straight into it as well. Some nobody there just for the assist. Rez with a double, some nobody with the third for the team, and a 2v5. That should decide the map. It almost certainly will. 1v5, even with the weapon that has the most ammo in the game. Can't do a dang thing about the ever so prevalent collapse from the Rams Orange.
Just rubber bullets.
They will make it 13-2 here on Icebox, and even without a map pick, they will still very easily find a map victory. This is also the neatest final screen I have ever seen.
We see Team 1 and Team 2 up top. Unfortunately, not a scramble. We don't see some wacky colors. I was going to say the Odin, it's just snowballs. They're just throwing out some snowballs at each other, and no damage. Right? Just little pellets coming at you. But unfortunately, it is a game that you got to play. The Odin is really powerful in some situations. And speaking of where the Odin is powerful, it is powerful on Ascent. It's powerful on Ascent as well as Split, surprisingly, if we can get to it. But we'll have to see what happens on Ascent.
Yeah, Ascent, our second map. We'll see if the Sova combo with any LMG comes through, maybe on the cardboard walls, when we come back from a break. Map 1 victory here for Rams Orange, and for lack of a better phrase, seemed like a piece of cake for them as they'll head to their own map pick of Ascent, the most played map in the competitive Valorant pool, and the most normal map, in my personal opinion, maybe the best possibility to come back for the Polar Bears now that we're off of their home frozen tundra. Welcome back, by the way, to the EGFH Season 12 Week 5 play of Valorant. I'm Time to Light. Joined with me is Nerds Corner.
Hello.
And Nerds, what needs to change for the Polar Bears if they want to see split?
They need to stop playing so vanilla, so safe, a little bit of change of pace, something to maybe spice it up, a carrot cake here and there. But, you know, it just depends on the situation, right? A lot of teams will get into this habit of you lose a game, you're going up against your opponents on their map, you start getting in your own head and stumbling on the really basic things. So for all my memery, I think they do need to focus a little bit on that basicness, the vanilla, the tried and true Valorant action that we love to see, especially over on defense. Sure, they can switch things up by throwing in a Phoenix there and going a double duelist, but as long as they keep up their, you know, their defenses, they make sure to play retake well and coordinate it together, they can win out against the Rams, who have been extremely dominant thus far.
Well, the dominance I don't think will stop anytime soon as the Rams start on their own map pick and on the attacking side, of which some teams argue is favored. It depends
On Ascent?
on the team. I said it depends on the team,
I would say,
especially on the series.
I would say if we're talking about just generic Ascent, it's defense sided. Because it's such a basic map. It's such a basic, it is such a basic map, and defense is inherently a little bit favored because they need to come to you. So in theory, any good team should just hide with judges and win every single game by being a little rat. But at the same time, I can see how some players might say attack is favored, especially because it is such a basic map. You know, you can do some crazy outplays, you could do some maneuvers. There's a lot of capabilities here.
The main reason I usually say that especially in Valorant, it is attacker favored. If you're a Counter-Strike player, almost every map is CT favored. But if you play Valorant, it's because of the diversity of utility. If you have a good team, even if anybody can hide in any corner with judges, it'll work for one round. Maybe two if you find a second, unique spot. But after that, they will use utility to clear you out of position, or utility to make sure you have to stay in that position, can't see a dang thing, and then will die. Yeah. That's the main reason. And especially when you're looking at the Rams Orange and how clean their attack was back on Icebox, they won 10-2. On the attacking side of Icebox. Yeah. And Icebox is already attacker favorite. When you add in their very well put together setups, you basically just make it a team favored rather than a side favored.
Yeah, and at that point, it is just a matter of perspective on the team. It's a matter of which team can win out. I still think that the Polar Bears, if they can play it right, can really do some damage. Maybe take the first half by storm in some capacity. They're also going for a chamber. With the recent nerfs, it's a bit interesting to see chamber, but I still think a very powerful agent nonetheless. The utility to be able to snap your fingers and dip out. The alarm bot having some, rework, some issues, right? You gotta be close enough to it to keep it alive and active, just like a KJ alarm bot. But it's still a really useful piece of utility and a very good kit indeed. That being said, there is going to be a small timer as, some bright people, some wide-eyed, some people could notice that the timer has stopped. That's because we're going to be going for a short little break. Some technical issues have arisen for the Polar Bears. As you can see, Phoenix has no ping, absolutely none. They're just not even here.
Nerds, I have 3 words for you.
Yes.
4 maybe.
4? 5?
No ping, Megamind face.
I had water. I was drinking some water here. When you're casting, you gotta stay hydrated, as well as these players and people in the chat. And then I almost did a spit take there. No ping, Megamind face. The level of memory.
Well, we have a second because of the lack of gameplay. I wanted to talk about the compositions, mainly because of how different the comp is on the polar bears side. Or in this case, the lack of difference. Really, the only difference that I see, they're keeping the brimstone, they're keeping the jet, they're keeping the KO, but they bring in the chamber. And on Ascent, I see it, but the problem is if you can't have that consistency around chamber play, it seems like they want to set it up towards B, and most importantly, you don't have a set in stone sentinel because chamber is really not a sentinel. Sorry, just had to say that. Then you may not be able to consistently have a good defensive setup. On the other side, Killjoy, very good. Post plants, very good. Defense, even better. You have a pretty good setup if you're on the Rams orange, but you don't have that consistency of defensive setups on polar bears. Maybe not the same case.
Well, I mean, you also have to think about the second half. They might not have a really good defensive setup, but on the flip side, they're going to be going on attack. And even though I mentioned this is, I would say, just because it's
defender-sided.
It's a little bit defender. I would say it's a little bit defender-sided. The reason I say a little bit is because when you talk about playing Valorant, they do need to come to you. So in theory, the whole thought process is if you can hide in a corner for at least 2 rounds, you can win out, and then you can start building up your economy, get better weaponry, and then you don't necessarily have to hide in a corner. You can hide in different spots, different angles, and you can hold things differently on defense. They still need to come on site and plant that spike. So it is a smidgen defender sided. That being said, you do need to think about the second half, and having those double duelists will provide the firepower necessary for them to win out on the attack side. That being said, I think it's been a little bit of time, so I'm not too certain what's going to be happening here. We might have to go to a short break right now just to see what's happening with these teams. And as I say it, I think I literally just saw something. Another player disconnected. Okay, not a reconnect, a disconnect.
No,
okay.
We have another DC. So you called it. We're going to send things to a break. When we come back, we'll see how this double duelist composition for the Polar Bears fares. Will it win them map 2, or will we see it end after just 2? We'll find out when we come back. Oh my gosh, Magic, we're back. And apparently the KO is not. I don't think the Brimstone is either. He's just stagnant over on the B side. I'm not sure if we ran out of pause time or if it's just not happening. But we've got a spike plant. Rams Orange are wasting no time. And yeah, that happened. Okay.
I'm flabbergasted. Little spook there with the alarm bot. It's cute. It's trying to find a friend. Doesn't find. I think it finds someone, but I don't think it makes KO makes chamber vulnerable. Speaking of KO, there's that 0 point as the time keeps ticking, and it's just. I mean, they're clearing things out. There's that haunt, right? They're on edge. They're worried, but unfortunately, none of that utility is going to be useful since Brimstone seems to just be. He's vibing, hanging out.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I think we're going to pause things again, and if so, we will most likely go to another break. We will determine things in a few seconds, but yeah, you can just see the lack of a connection for the Brimstone on the Polar Bears. Everybody else has very neat and tidy ping, so we've correctly selected servers. The problem is, apparently the ISP for Brimstone has not selected the server, period. So, after a very exhilarating and albeit short round 1...
What?
Are we? Yeah, everybody's disconnected. Yeah, we're going to a break. We'll come back when the Polar Bears decide that they want to play Ascent. believe they say third time is the charm. Hopefully that's the case for our game. Pistol round does not count as it was started without readies concurrently gotten from both teams, and obviously two of the polar bears just were not in the game. But I do not know if it will matter. D5 is stuck in this corner. They are suppressed, so the information that they're in the general vicinity should be there, but the rad angle still works. A 2-for-2 trade overall in the round 2-for-1 as they come back into it, but a spike plant should still be able to come through just barely, but Rez gets off of it.
Yes, and there we go. That's going to be 3-3, a dominant start. And these are the rad angles we're talking about. They pay dividends on one round, but are they going to pay some more? There is going to be a even playing field yet again, 2-on-2. Last player, some nobody, is going to be here. They got to keep that spike alive. Unfortunately, the Brimstone duel wins out in favor of the polar bears as they take the first round. You know, the ones with the technical issues coming back, I guess they rethought some of their strategies and thought things up. That being said, it is a new round, a new lobby, and a new game for everyone. See how well, I mean, it is, the Rams were extremely dominant in the previous game, so there is still a lot of wiggle room for both these teams.
Pretty good start. Second time around, or technically third, I suppose, there for the polar bears, is they will actually win the pistol this time rather than losing it when they only had 3 players actually concurrently in the lobby. And this is now their conversion round. The problem is there's only 1 player on the site that the Rams Orange are at least seemingly trying to go. And if they can get this speed quickly and clear out the trip that's in that close left corner outside of main, they're in a pretty good spot, especially with Lushy's finding that shot, somehow finding an opening kill, has the information that D2's in the general vicinity, and they find a 2-for-1 trade just to start.
And I mean, this over aggression, I get it. You need to be confident. You need to have some of that aggression, but you are on the convert round. You're on defense. You don't necessarily need to take that space. And now you've lost 2 players, and even more so, you might lose 2 weapons. I don't know if they were able to get it or not, but at the same time, that is 2 Spectres in theory. If they can, I don't think they got it, but in theory, that is something that you are potentially losing.
Timing may be worth everything here. D3 walking in through mid does not see the walk around and cannot find anything on that cross. Zash with a classic is holding the flank. D3's walk up is caught, and D3 didn't know they were going to get swung. You could see they got a little scared there as they flinched away from where they were being shot out. A follow-up from Doc. This is almost a full save minus 2 sheriffs for the entirety of Rams Orange, and it's down to D4 on the Brimstone with 47 health, absolutely no utility to speak of, and a classic only, and they're gonna die to Zash.
That's a phantom.
There's nothing they can do about it.
I was literally gonna say,
perfect setup for Rams Orange to come back.
I was gonna say the first thing that was gonna come out of my lips was gonna be someone purchased a phantom for the polar bears side. And that is going to be a huge investment lost and a huge investment found for Zash, who is able to pick it up. That's why, you know, being aggressive is great when you have an even playing field. Being aggressive is even better when you are down and you don't have anything to lose. But being aggressive when you have the money, you have the win, you have everything to lose and nothing to gain from it, it's just an unfortunate misplay, and it doesn't work out in favor of the polar bears. That being said, it's still 1-on-1, 1-to-1. Each side is even here as Lushes makes it uneven in their favor, winning out, having the player's advantage. But again, it's a little too early to say anything.
Pretty good start. That Nanoswarm does go a little short, so I don't know if that's going to find all of the efficacy they're looking for. At the very best, it'll create a very small Venn diagram. Either way, good setup again, looking at it if you're on the Rams Orange side. D2 wants to get aggressive on the Phoenix with a Bucky in hand, but they're seen by Lushies and immediately taken care of. Now a 5 versus 3, the retake seemingly ever so much more difficult. Lushies is on a 3K. They're now just straight up looking for the ace. It'll be stolen away from them. D5 on only 3 HP though, can't do a whole lot about it. A Spectre all to speak of in their hands, and again, no utility in a clutch situation for this side. They're just gonna have to run away. At this point, you just save, and they can't even do that. Flawless round for Rams Orange. Very well put together. Take and hold, most importantly, later on.
So fun economy fact: if you have a Spectre, you get 2,000 creds for, I believe, you die, and then you get 1,900. They've lost 2, so they get a loss bonus. They're getting about 2,000 something, 2,010, 2,100, I believe, if I'm correct, for dying. You get bonus for dying and losing. If you die and lose, you get a bonus in your creds. So dying to the spike is actually really favorable if you have a Spectre, and really not favorable if you have anything that's a bit more expensive. Spectres are 1,600 creds, whereas Vandals and Phantoms are 2,900 creds. So dying with a Spectre to the spike is actually not a bad play in most situations, and saving there might not net you as much as just going in there and trying to take away some of these rifles from your enemy team, or at least keeping them close enough to the spike so they die to it themselves. As
oh, no.
I think we have another disconnect. Oh,
that would be D5. It was just hanging out around spawn, or the top of heaven, I suppose. It doesn't really matter. It's
Lee's back.
Whatever it is, or whoever it is a 4 versus 5. They are back, but it may just not matter. Lushy's dropping D4 in through mid. The Brimstone taken care of, as is now that KO. A 5 versus 2, and Lushy somehow still finds the kill onto the chamber. How in the world do you find that, for starters? And how do you even make it close? We have more disconnects.
No, they're back. They're back.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it was a disconnect and immediate reconnect.
I think. Was it?
Never mind.
Am I...
It's still a 1v4. It doesn't really matter. Let's finish this round, then we'll analyze who's actually still in the game. Reload is heard, and the kill is found. Quick finish. Rams Orange again win. I'm curious as to whether everybody's here or not. That's my real question. Will we see another pause? Yes,
two
we
players
will.
down.
I love it.
The chaos of collegiate and high school esports never seems to die, and I specifically say collegiate and high school esports because both of them are interestingly chaotic. Unfortunately, here at EGFH, the high school scene, it's a little bit more chaotic, and there are some issues sometimes on the school's end. So we'll have to see if BTSD5 will return for the rest of this game. What's gonna happen? Double Molly goes out to slow down B main and give them some room to work with. A little bit of a tag there. Hey, I mean, I think they must have heard us because they're holding some of these angles now with an ADS instead of just ADSing randomly. And there's the kill feed.
Down B.
Pinstripe again, 2 for 2 overall, but the most important part of this is it's still a lot of map control here for Rams Orange. They're aware that most of this B side is clear. For some reason the game wasn't paused, so D5 is still outside of the game. They have now come back, trying to play into it, but the swing from behind, still another 1-for-1 trade. When all is said and done, when the dust settles and the chaos has stopped ensuing, it's a 2v2, and there's still just about half the round left.
Well, I mean, when you see candy canes on the kill feed, it's gonna be a even matchup for both of these teams. There is a decent amount of utility still on the side of attack here for the Rams. They have smokes and the firepower to clear the space. With a player stationed mid looking for anyone rotating off, they're gonna look in the right direction at the right time. Just what the doc ordered, a 2 versus 1 in favor of your team. The medicine, the cure, what you need in this situation. An op in hand, I feel like at this point you might wanna save. It's really difficult. There we see the jump scare, the spray. Not able to find the doc, but the doc's not able to find you. Oh. And they just get sprayed down. An unfortunate situation.
In the world did I just watch?
A game of chicken, I would assume. Who showed?
My problem is Doc. Doc, for some reason, not the jump peak, not the second swing, that was all perfectly fine. The first swing, after you jump and they miss a shot, you don't need to strafe back and forth after whoever is shooting you with an op misses a first shot. After they miss that first shot, it's like you have invincibility for the next half a second or so, if not full second. You can just chill there, stop moving, you don't need to work on your movement and accuracy, you should be
drop, and roll.
For some reason, they just strafe back and forth and then go back. Again, we have 2 disconnects, but the game isn't paused. I think we're just playing, maybe. I don't know. D2's getting aggressive, but there goes their run it back. That is an ultimate of all time.
I was gonna say, it's basically advanced packet loss at this point in time. Doc finds one more. It is going to be in favor of the Rams here again. Advanced packet loss and the fact that they lose enough packets to be out of the game and come back almost instantly. Rez counterdicting their name yet again in the series. This time on the KO, not on the Sage. No, still no Rez on the Sage action. Spike gets planted as the lockdown gets taken down, I guess. I don't know. It's running out of time. A flawless victory. I think they went for an ADS there.
Doesn't matter. They played Odin. They still lost.
Yeah.
And Rams Orange just held W. And oh my goodness, Lushies has now bought an Odin. Everybody's back in the game on the bright side for the Polar Bears. The problem is that consistency is still haunting them. The combination of the Rams Orange knowing exactly what they want to do and the Polar Bears Wi-Fi, the exact opposite, makes things a little bit more difficult if you're already playing from behind in both a map and a series. And what is this buy?
It's a broken buy.
Of musical weapons, a Bucky, a Phantom, an Ares, a classic that I believe is a Headhunter substitute, and some other gun. I don't know. There's the Ares close corner, and it is immediately taken care of.
The bigger brother is right there.
That happened.
Zash finds one more. I know you're too stunned to speak, so am I, but the musical chairs are not over yet. It's like strat roulette, but to a completely different degree. Lushies finds one more. Zash not being able to find their own, and they know that there's someone on the pinch, so there's some information for them. And with one player left up against the 5-stack that is the Rams, it is going to be difficult to push through and out against them. He's looking to find someone, catch them off guard, seeing if he can get them. He finds one. Lushes goes down. There's an op in their hands. They switch to the Odin and they spray down and find one more. It's going to be 6 rounds up for the Rams. I was going to say 4 difference, but I was incorrect. But 5 difference. 5 players there. The reconnects, deconnects, reconnects are going out in the back and forth for the Polar Bears right now. Oh, they're back.
I've determined what the team's doing. They're trying to cross off the bingo card of weapons. That's really what they're trying to do. That's the reason we see the diversity across the board. As of right now, there are 6 different weapons between 10 players, if I counted correctly. Phantoms and Vandals included in that conversation. Ares, Bucky, Odin, Phantom, Vandal, and Operator. All in this round alone. Somehow.
I win! I won! Bingo! Bingo! What do I get? What's my prize?
If you're the Polar Bears, dying a lot. If you're the Rams Orange, a few round wins.
I mean, hey, it ain't over till it's over. I feel like if they have all their players and they play well
Chamber
together,
just
it works
ran through
out.
smoke with a Marshall.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate set of circumstances here, as nobody is able to find one more. Not a nobody here. There we go. The crouch peek does not go out against an Odin wielding Lush. Lushies is able to find one more against an operator. I feel like a crouch peek against an op isn't that bad. Just a touch mistimed.
We have the Brazil. 7-1. Remember 2014 World Cup?
Oh.
Brazil lost 7-1 on home turf to Germany.
I thought you were talking about Sao Paulo. I was like, is this going to be a Fnatic moment here? 11, dude, they were 11-4 and came back. I think I have faith now. I have faith
but they were
now.
also up 2-0 and almost gave up 3 maps in a row. So I don't know. It was the comeback versus the we had it and almost threw it away.
You know what the scoreline was at the half? You know what the scoreline was at the half?
I don't remember.
9-3.
Of course it was.
I rest my case, but these guys aren't resting theirs as the spike goes down. It's still going to be ultimates on the board. Now make it 3 ultimates on the board, 1 already used in that lockdown, but I believe that some of the players are not here for the Polar Bears, and because of that, there is going to be a save potentially for the KO on the Polar Bears side. Same thing with
They're not surviving this.
Oh.
They're not.
Oh.
He DC'd while running.
I see.
That
I thought they were running away.
They were, and then they DC'd, and then they kept running away until they whacked into a wall. This should be a fairly quick finish as well. There's the information, there's the kill, the Brimstone's taken care of. They were DC'd as well. This is an unfortunate situation for the Polar Bears where they kind of have to play this out. For context, there's a 15-minute per map, I believe, rule on technical pauses / technical issues, and the Polar Bears already have nearly reached that, so even if they paused for a whole round or so, maybe even 2, they'd already run out of time and they'd still be running into this issue. So at the best bet, they're just trying to play it out, maybe get it over with, get things taken care of. It's
chaos.
This is one of the games of all time.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, I feel like it's just a touch unfortunate. There's nothing that you can realistically do. Thankfully, all the Polar Bears are here. The rat corner does not go out and whine. Instead, it's going to be Doc on the clock finding some players. Not able to convert just yet. The push in works out. There's the trade. So at least if there's something there, he finds another one for the road. And he gets found out themselves, but they are able to run away faster. It's going to be a Marshall versus a it's going to be a Marshall versus a knife, I guess. They're all going for knives in mid. That's going to be the operator down, and Lush is able to get the final kill, the final play there with the knife fight. I love the camaraderie between both of these teams, though. Like, you know, it is a sticky situation. It's a little bit difficult to get out of. You might as well have a little bit of fun with it, you know.
They're trying to. 9-1 at this point. This should not last much longer. At this point, it is a 3 or 4v5 every round, changing in between the rounds itself. Sometimes you start off as a 5v5, go to a 3v5 in the middle, and then by the time your two players have reconnected, it's an actual 3v5. Not much you can do off the back. Nice shot from D2. There's an opening kill from the Phoenix, and hold up. The Chamber's playing on top of Tetris. This is a pretty good setup, all things considered here for the Polar Bears. They have already pincered in Ram's Orange. Run it back has been used. No information gained off the back of it, or in this case, a lack of information gained off the back of it.
Ooh.
Rez finds one. Zasha follow-up. Down to a 4v3. Everybody's connected here for the Polar Bears, but not everybody's on the site, and they're about to be taken out as they flank from behind. They want a knife. D2's not going to get it. It's down to the KO only.
And I mean, at the end of the day, they're on the server, but they're not online, if you catch my drift. It's just a stick. Again, it's a difficult. I think I'm going to eventually just run out of synonyms for that word and start stumbling. I don't want to even say bad, because it's not that the players are bad. It's just an unfortunate circumstance. No. It's just a circumstance of, like, they have Wi-Fi that's not working in their favor, and technical issues arise a lot, and technical issues come up a lot, but it's just difficult, unfortunately. Although the Shorty and the Dream coming out for the Brimstone, would not be surprised if they play some sort of rat corner. No. They're just going for knives. All right. All right. Are you ready to rumble? There's that ultimate fade, smokes, everything back and forth. Someone whips out a gun and gets punished for it. There we go. 2 knives are going out. The counter is there. They need to be pushed away. There's only one player. He gets detained. Oh, no. No. Oh, the
you got Goomba stomped as well.
Oh,
he's being put through a blender. Oh. Goomba stomp. There's the undetain, and he gets the shot with the tour de force that was already out, by the way. Reaction time on that one.
You know, I mean,
that's what happens when you don't ADS. That's what happens when you don't ADS.
Oh, and you know, there's the punish for, you know, you gotta fight. The rules of war are set in stone. You gotta fight with the rules of war. I don't even know what I'm saying in this situation. It's like, in any good knife fight, there's always that one player that whips out a weapon and starts shooting, gets punished for it, and then we see the absolute chaos go out. I mean, at least they're making the best of an unfortunate situation and having a fun time here, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone in between. It is just chaos here on the server right now.
And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. This should be a very neat and tidy finish for the Rams Orange. This is a pistol round. They've got 2 between them and taking this. And this is a combination of them at the start just being the better team, and then having the issues for the Polar Bears just arise, making things even more difficult for them to come back from what was already a deficit. Doc here with a Sheriff. This is the first shot, so, you know, they're a bad player. I'm kidding. But the problem is, even with the polar bears pushing forward, they're being caught in smoke, in utility. They're walking straight through nanoswarms, and Zash is on a 4K. They should find an ace here. Somehow they don't. D3 gets out with that rendezvous, but it really should not matter. Looking for the knife, maybe looking for anything. If they're going to deny an ace, it better be via a knife. Zash actually almost gets the ace with the turret, but no. The first ace, and the coolest of the accolades thus far given to anybody, goes to Zash to put them on match point.
And it's just been 12 unanswered rounds. I think we know where this is going to be headed to. An unfortunate situation gets even darker and grimmer. Unfortunately, it is going to be the threat of match point looming over our polar bears. It's like winter coming to the Antarctic. Snowstorms are there. There's the blizzard. There's the fall, I guess. The snowfall is there. It's just... I feel like a lack of words at some point. Oh, what the? Finds two with a Bucky, gets traded out by one as well.
And then they actually just traded a Bucky for a Bucky.
Hey, but it's
Phoenix
a skin.
running
It's
forward.
a skin. It's a skin.
You're right. You're right. Skins equal wins.
Always.
And that better be the case. Zash somehow has found... I'm not kidding. This is an actual stat. Has found 5 kills in 2 rounds with utility alone.
5 kills?
In total,
Wait, 5? Or sorry, 2?
5 kills in 2 rounds.
5 kills. Are you
with
5? I was when you said that I was like, do you mean 2 or do you mean 5? Yeah, really?
They found 3 kills in round number 12
with a nanoswarm, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, with the nanoswarm. Yeah, all on like the exact same spot.
Wow.
Pretty sick.
Well, I mean,
it was a
it's
wild finish. Let's put it that way.
It was 2-13, and then it was 2-13, and now it's 1-13. It was just unfortunate, sticky, bad. I mean, I'm running out of synonyms here. Time to you have anything else to add? And
awkward silence. That's what I've got for you.
And there we go.
I have awkward silence.
We don't get to go. We don't get to see split, but we do get to see more of the Rams. Instead of Rams Orange, we're going to be seeing their A team, just the Rams. They're going to be coming back into it in the next game. So I guess we'll have to see you guys then and there when they go up against a team that I wrote it down and completely lost. But we'll see them in just a little bit.
Nonetheless, so I'm keen for this one. I can tell based on your reaction, you're kind of excited too.
The Lotus and Haven are the only 2 maps in Valorant to have 3 sites, and they're so different to each other and yet so similar. And they're different in some ways, but so similar in others. B being one of the easier sites to take for both, but also you get pinched really easily. But this, the swap of A and C, Haven having a really open C long, whereas Lotus has a really open A long. It's so interesting to see these teams kind of both pick the 3-site map. Out of all of the maps in Valorant, out of all of the 2-site maps, they decided to go with the 2 3-site maps. And that, I think that's worth talking about. It's interesting in its own right. But I'm also really excited to talk about and see Lotus.
Me too. I mean, Lotus has been a timeless map for me, even though it's only been around for such a short amount of time. As we get into some of these agent selections here, we get to kind of accustom ourselves with some of the stuff we've gotten used to on Lotus to start off with, right? I've had a lot of conversation back and forth with different casts about what works and what doesn't. And so far, you can see very, very, I'd say, different yet similar approaches to the equation here, this math problem at hand, right? You have great entry potential from the raises, but you're kind of mirroring a bit of a question mark in your mind, right? Double duelist coming up on the side of the Krakens versus the single on the side of the Rams. And what is the intention? Where are they going to shine? And starting on the attacker side for the Krakens, this might be the chance for them to, in fact, shine and really bring home the rounds early on here for themselves. And of course, you did say yourself, nerds, this is a bit of a dark horse, a bit of an unknown, and they're definitely coming in with a different approach.
I enjoy double initiator setups a lot, especially on 3-site maps. I think double initiator is the way to go. I also think that Neon is the duelist for Lotus, in my opinion. Any 3-site map can benefit from a Neon drastically. If you're going to be playing with arrays, you need a lot more coordination and tact when you do it. When you get onto a site, when you get into an area, you don't have as much utility to reposition mid-fight or even post-fight. That's why Neon is so powerful. Neon isn't powerful because, you know, she can run onto a site. Neon's powerful because once she's on site and does some damage, she can run out of it back to safety. Or on, you know, when you're on attack, right, you run in there, get some damage, and you run out to safety. Or on defense, repositioning really quickly. Let's say you 3-stack on B site and they're coming A, you could just go from C all the way to B, all the way to A within a matter of a couple of seconds in comparison to the rest of your team. The repositioning potential is really powerful there. As for Raze, she only has 2 blast mags, 2 times that they can move in and out of combat. And that is you know, even though it's still really powerful, I don't think it's as good as Neon. That being said, the Krakens are going for double initiators and double duelist, whereas the Rams are going for double controllers. Now I feel like that's really interesting, but what are your thoughts on it? I want to know what you think about it.
I mean, my thought right now is, first of all, Illogical with this great little opener push here onto Bear is awesome to start things off. You get 1 out of the 2 duelists out of the way, which gives some more opportunity for the Rams to kind of sit back and vibe, knowing they're not going to get sieged on early on here. And with that, they're going to segue right on through into the side here. Speed lane, dashing. You can see a bit of a setup there from that KJ to at least stop the plant for the time being and get some time. And I hear a pop, and Illogical picks up a nice 2-piece to follow up. So very, very good start here from the Krakens.
I mean, Illogical not living up to their name. They're doing some great plays here. Kitten responds on C-Plex. And now the spike goes down. There is the push and the trade. 2 players left, very low HP. You can't self-heal there. And with low HP and a dream, they fall and falter. The Rams also, this is their A team. This is the varsity roster, and this is traditionally the better roster. So it's not surprising that they're kind of confident in this retake. And the double controller composition from there, I think it's interesting. If you're going with any controller, I think on this map, it's definitely the Viper. Viper is really, really powerful. And I could argue that Omen is a very good combination to that, but you gotta have a thought out plan on how and why you're gonna use that utility.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always a rhyme and a reason to, but what, you know, I found in my experience with Lotus is it really does boil down to hitting your shots. I mean, there's a lot of different styles of gameplay that can occur in this map, a lot of long range activity, short range type plays, and C ends up becoming a battle of mound and who can really control that the most in the post plant situation. And I can understand having the KJ to block off that entryway and leaving that as a float opportunity, but that can be easily punished if there's the Krakens really putting their 1s and 2s together and looking to exploit an opening. And so far, they've had the chance to tickle C, didn't get too much luck out of it. Now we're having a bit of a peek at that B side. You can see here dashing on through Aura, having to take a peek on a bit of an awkward angle to say the least, and it's not working out too well at the beginning, but they're so patient and they're so diligent as they get up 3 picks, make that 4 with the Logical, and of course the Spectres go Burt along with the primary buys out of those Phantoms, and the Rams pick up their second round.
Giving that defuse also to Illogical, a very understandable play there, trying to get that Viper's Pit early. They're 1 away from it as well, as the Rams have a flawless victory. Flawless. And Illogical darting to the top of that leaderboard right now. 5-1 on the kill feed. 3k creds in hand. It's going to be the first rifle round, but with Spectres, full armaments there as well. And a Phantom. It's basically kind of the full buy for both teams here, especially with the broken up buy from the Krakens as well. They're going to be on pretty even footing, I would say.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one totally. And you can see here right off the rip, a lot of action occurring here towards that A side. Orbs being grabbed, but so patient from the Krakens, just sitting back and waiting for the aggression of the Rams. And boy, are they going to get some aggression. You can see Bear, everyone just posted up. And on the opposite end of that X-ray, you see Raid hanging out, Breach just vibing, waiting for an opportunity. Pop Flash comes in, and this is the chance to siege. Counter Flash, Raid looking to protect. The counterpart Raze here, nice little satchel up top, and the verticality might be good for one. Indeed it is. The aggression pays off for Illogical and Deanic quick trade from Kitten, but they've got everything figured out now. They are absolutely beaming laser beams, and unfortunately for Karmaka, this is a bit of a sticky situation to be in as the aggression of the Rams pay off. And boy, oh boy, nerds, they're playing this defense very much like the attack. They have no fear when it comes to fighting for map control.
They're just pushing in, ramming through all the defenses and barricades and just getting into it, which is great that they're living up to their namesake, but it's really difficult to go up against. There is an overdrive still available for Drift RHSK. Oh, yes, their team, Riverside Krakens for Drift. They have that ultimate online, which is a very powerful ultimate, I would say, especially when you don't have any utility, you don't have any guns, you don't have any weaponry, to just run in there during an eco and try and disrupt the snowball that is starting to occur with the Rams right now. That being said, there is a Viper's Pit invested on this B site to make sure that no one's gonna just run in, bum rush B.
Patience, though, is again using that clock to the fullest rather, and just kind of flexing things out. Drift here spots the turret, just the top of it, looking mighty on cute. Having taken care of that now. Riverside Krakens ready to hit this C site yet again. Another attempt. Nano swarms are out, but the majority of the attackers are by this early siege. But the patience of C-Plex here with that gun in hand. Easy come, easy go. Doing what controllers do best. Controlling the site to its fullest now. It's down to the one lonesome Neon in a 1 versus 5 to manage the situation. 40 seconds on the clock is a plus, but no spike in hand and a whole bunch of Rams coming at you, ready to headbutt you. And Doom makes it just that much more difficult.
And that is going to be 4 rounds up.
Yeah, it's a great early start for the Rams, and you look at Kraken, they're having some struggles. They can't really get their footing in on the attacker side of things, and they're just having to deal with the brunt of the horns and take it for the most part. And they're by now, so that's a plus. But they gotta do something about it here early on before things get a little bit too bad.
You make these puns fly so quick. Well, not even puns. You make these quips so fast. I can't even process this gameplay. It's just chaos. The absolute dominance from the Rams. They're comfortable and confident with every single play they make, leaving KJs to solo hold C site and being able to play for retake there if necessary, while doing a lot of aggressive plays. It's almost like they know exactly where everyone is, and they're comfortable. They don't feel any pressure whatsoever, and that is going to trip up the Krakens. That being said, it is a buy round for the Kraken, so they're going to try their best right now to utilize that to the best of their abilities they can. But from the flank, illogical comes. There's the fall, the trade from Aurora. Denrink is able to grab Kitten as well. It's 3-on-3. That ultimate is still online, but now for 2 players, Spike goes down, and it's just going to be 1 player left. They pushed up all the way through the back, sneak through the chaos to hopefully net themselves something. Is the Trigger Discipline going to win out? They're getting 1, but that gives away their position. They know exactly where they are. Raid is able to find them near the end, and what looked like a very promising round crumbles, falls apart at the hands of the Rams.
It's been pretty textbook so far here, Chief. I mean, it's a run-of-the-mill start, in the cascading effect and the domino effect of these early rounds is really starting to take a beating on the side of Riverside. You can see not only are they buying and try to keep their marbles straight, but they're suffering financially, which is going to start catching up with them very, very soon. I mean, the plus side, they've got some ultimates to work with, which should make this a little bit more manageable. But I think with Riverside, they got to pick the tempo up a little bit and look to kind of work as a bigger group of 2 and 3 and really capitalize on individual plays and being caught out. But what makes that more difficult to manage is the Rockford Rams are playing super, super upfront and aggressive in 2s and 3s as well. So it comes down to who hits the shot first. And this passivity is fun and all, but it gives so much space to the Rams to push up, and they're fearless when it comes to taking that space. And oh my pop, no. Yannick just
I think we both kind of understood, like, oh my, something's gonna happen here. A shorty in a dream, it doesn't work out. The cabbages are flying, and so is the bird, as they're gonna try to push onto the C site. Let's see if C-Plex's solo hold works out. Actually, not a solo, there's a backup from the other Sentinel controller, Viper. Logical's able to grab 2, and that is gonna be Karma on the back burner, all alone up against 5 with a Guardian in hand. Wow. They're gonna try. I'm gonna try and get that spike, but it just doesn't work out. Strive doesn't work out.
No, sir. It's I looked down at the main game here for a quick second, and the rotation that came out from Illogical to support Cplex was almost instantaneous. Like that speaks for itself in what the Rams are able to accomplish. They're quick, they're mobile, and they're really playing into their setup to its fullest. They understand the nature of leaving KJ alone on that C site, but they also understand that leaving a KJ alone means you got to be equally as fast and lacing up your Jordans and running over to help out that individual, or else things go to the dumps. And they're playing it well. They're getting good A control, which allows them to kind of rule out that one site, and then they're really heavily focused on being a quick rotate for C and anchoring on B. It's really fun gameplay to watch.
I was gonna say, Strive, it's not illogical, it's logical here. Everybody knows exactly what they need to be doing, and I think that consistency works out. Instantly put into place. Unfortunately, that ultimate does not work out. Cplex finds a second, tries to get a third. Thankfully, Kitten's on the side, able to get them down. It's not going to be anything but a mountain for them to climb. They got the spike down, not for Mound though, not for playing back. Unfortunately, it's illogical who's going to be pushing from this waterfall position, whereas everyone else is trickling through halls. There's the ultimate as well, the showstopper to steal it, finds one. Sheems goes down, Kitten's there as well. Trades back and forth. Karma gets one more, and I think it's just gonna be a wrap here. This is a masterful execute onto site. The showstopper dealing so much damage, making sure to eliminate a player. Not gonna Rosa this one, and then from there they just all trickle in. The pressure put from Illogical as well from Waterfall, it's just perfect to encapsulate them on that site, trap them there.
Yeah, just really well done, like you pointed out. I mean, and you mentioned the one thing which was, I think, part of the cascading effect there for the Rams in that retake. The plant itself was a giveaway for how they would be playing that site. They're not going to run back to Mound and give up that position. And at that point, that really helped guide that the good old showstopper into the right corner, one of the very few corners on that B site to
where
provide.
Where else are you going to hide?
Exactly. Like at that point, you're stuck. In the showstopper is definitely a messy thing to deal with. So alas, to your echoing comments. Yeah, 7 rounds in a row here for the Rams, and they're bringing the tempo. Big paint shells early on, does the zoning, and Bear goes vertical and comes booping right back on down. So Deanic and co here are just absolutely great at holding on this aggression towards A.
The thing I do want to also mention, I feel like this is attack-sided as a map. All 3 map sites are more attack-sided. But as I say that, the Rams are just breaking it down, pushing it through, and changing literally everything I'm saying by winning out here 7 rounds on defense. They're basically being really aggressive on all fronts, firing on all cylinders, but they're also really confident in their plays. The moment something doesn't go their way, they'll regroup and reposition on the attack. And there's that Hunter's Fury going out.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, Karma sends it deep, doesn't find anything as of yet, and Snakebites continue to whittle this clock down to its latter portions. 40 seconds. We have yet to see a real setup execute, and with all the aggression yet again gathered at long A, the process of elimination kicks in, and with all the noises at that B side, you can see even KJ start to cheat over a little bit and help out the Viper in this case, and they're ready to deal with this B push now. Aura, patient, has illogical support for the 1, for the 2, and again, this crossfire and the mess goes down. Illogical, thoroughly early on point and just completely denying that B entry.
I cannot really understand Illogical's name. It's almost like slipping my tongue. It's a misunderstanding, misfiring there in the brain synapses. Some would even argue, just my logic's not on point here, because this is 17-3 on the scoreline, by the way, for Illogical. This is nothing short of, I think their name is meant for the casters to just kind of meme on, because it's not even in a, just to joke off of, because his name stumps our logic. He's breaking everything. He's the top fragging controller, the Viper. And on defense as well, by the way, all on the defending side, the side that you don't need to take aggression on, the side that you don't necessarily need to be pushing on. They're doing such a good job of playing it off together. Aru finds one to open things up for the Rams again.
Rinse and repeat here, Chief. I'm telling you, there is something stellar about these Rams when it comes to setting up the plays and getting the job done. They're able to find individual moments of sunlight. They also find good duo and trio pushes, and you can see yet again the control, the aggression on that long A, the Viper's pit on that B. And what does that do here in this 3v5? Completely chokeholds them towards that C side. Yes, drift on the one is good. Karma, nice little shock dart, picks up a second. Cplex though is doing what Cplex has done time in and time out, which is deny that C site. And with that, yet again, down to that 3v1. This is the Rams textbook play on Lotus, it seems like here, nerds.
They're just comfortable surrounding and swarming the enemy. The boom bot seals it out just right there, finds and spots them out. I would say that their ability to counteract and quickly adapt to any situation is truly what is impressive about the Rams as well. The moment they see any aggression on C, there's the ultimate there on B site to lock it down and make sure that no one can push through. And regardless of whether it's A or C, that is going to allow them to kind of swarm and encapsulate the enemy team. Because if they're going to be going on that A site, they can come through the breakable wall there in that little cubby area. If they're going to be going on to C, that's covering up switch. That ultimate from Viper really locks down a huge portion of the map, one that's really integral to Kraken's success. And the moment they see them on C, they're able to play off of that and encapsulate them. Cplex, you know, he says, hey guys, they're on C, they're coming in here. And instantly, look at the map, they're scattering, running into that C site, waiting for them to plant, waiting for them to get comfortable before they strike, before they get onto it. Again, spike not planted for mound, but actually planted for deeper on site. I feel like you need more control if you're going to be playing that way, Strive. I wouldn't say so.
And you can see like the patience and discipline out of the Rams is just spectacular to watch. Not only are they front forward when it comes to pushing, but they're equally as patient and diligent on retake. I mean, they are just so good at waiting and relying on each other in moments of haste and in moments of serenity on this map. And you can see now coming off of it 10-0, they continue with this siege, and it's a great sight to see. I mean, very adaptable team, and they've shown me multiple different facets. You know, a six-sided dice indeed. I've seen the aggression, the passivity, the teamwork, the solo play. Well, I mean, yeah, 1 through. Yeah, I'm just a dice is six-sided there, nerds. Come on. You get my point.
This is more like a D100. It's every single facet, every single area.
It's a game that has like a 20-sided dice. I forget what the name of it is. It's not 20-sided.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Is that okay? Well, I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, so yeah,
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, we'll go with that. It's one of those. I mean, heck, there could be for all I care. There's 20 sides of this game, and it's all Rockford Rams. Well, we'll say 10 because 10-0 right now, but alas, we're back to it again here, Chief, taking us away for round number 11. Dianic, the same old rinse and repeat, getting up on the wall here, doing what Dianic does best, fighting for positioning, and this time it is a 4-man Fandango playing the wall. Kitten does get it, but I hear a boom bot, and it's causing a lot of ruckus. The Viper wall is dividing, but not as much as it is bringing this team together, as it allows some opportunity for picks back and forth. But Kitten, the Bulldog Demon, ooh,
oh wow,
James, good morning. We're feeling it now in a 3v1. So ends up the overinvestment of the Rams has resulted in some Kraken heat. No. And wait a minute though. Oh, this is happening. This is about to happen, Chief.
The spike. No, I was about to comment. They have everything in the bag. From the shadows to be able to rotate. They have the spike in their possession. They have everything they need, but they over aggress onto the breakable wall, onto that cubby position, and that is going to be a compromised spike and an easy win. Cplex has to win this. There's no shot.
Patience though here from Kitten. Cplex knows there's a reasonable amount of time, but the choke point is covered and rotated. The jiggle peak is no bueno. Kitten ends up taking the gunfight and ends up taking Kraken's first round. You like to see it. It took a bit for it to heat up, but man, it boiled down to a nice long game battle of obviously what was like a 4v5 for it to get to that point.
But it was such an unnecessary battle to have. That overextension from Cheems is just, it was unfortunately not necessary in that situation, and it caused so much havoc. They had 3 players up, and that loses them weaponry. And up against the snowball, up against the utility that you're going to be going against. Look, there's 4,000 credits basically for everyone on the Rams side. You are putting yourself in such a disadvantage going into this final round. They're on marshals, and like, Phantoms and Vandals. It's very broken right now for the Krakens. And because of that, they have to play slower, they have to play more cautiously and carefully, and that is not what won them that round. They were really aggressive on that A site, and through the chaos were able to, I mean, somehow win out against the Rams, who thrive in chaos almost.
Julian, with the chaos comes one end of the spectrum, right? Success or disaster, and so far for the Rams, they've been definitely thriving on the W side of things here. A lot has occurred, though, early on. A lot of utility invested all across the map as we're hopping through the POV observer feed and seeing what's happening. I do hear tons of footsteps, and what I do like out of the side of Krakens is Bear has been very forward on getting on site. Time in, time out, I've seen that Raze be the first in, and then is waiting for the team to come in and support. So Drift a little bit late to the party there, gets C-plexed as per usual. Again, they're on site, they're well planted, and they're very much site focused, not really playing the mountain game whatsoever. Cheems looking to join into the mess here. Rolling Thunder is invested. C-Plex and Illogical coming with it, rolling onto site like it's no one business. Dianic just boom, bop, and a bang. Double satchel fiasco with Aura to absolutely frost that cake and take the Rams off to an 11-1 half.
I mean, the firepower coming out for two duelists is just unfortunately not seen. It's not working right now. The Neon plays have not been as prominent as I would expect, especially on a map like this. And the Raze plays from Denak, funky name, but amazing player regardless. They double satcheled near the end there to get that final elimination off and to win it out for them. That being said, 11-1 on the swap. You weren't here, Strive, for the beginning, but for the first game. But it was the first game was 2-13, and the second game was 1-13. So in favor of the Rams, mind you. And we learned a little bit about the Rams talking to the players during the interview, and they told us that they're a newer program. The Rams are a newer program. They're getting into it, but just because you're a new program doesn't mean you need to stumble out the gate. It seems as though the Rams, they're just taking it all. They're confident. They're being able to use that, beginner's luck, as some would say, to win out in all of their games for their A and for their B team, as Illogical and Dinak are able to get ones of their own.
110% here, Chief. And with Drift now stuck in the back corners, taking some damage. I like the spread out activity from the Rams. They got a nice little pick at B, some action toward A, but now the full take comes on through. If it wasn't going to be the Aftershock, it's going to be Dianic there, bouncing around like an absolute demon, picking up that Neon. And as per the usual regiment, your evening program, 7 p.m. episode of Dragon Ball Z, here we are yet again with the Rams now sitting at that 11-1 scoreline, about to capitalize on that 12th. Some low HP around the board, doable for Kitten, 1 click per, and then you just got to deal with the breach, but that's going to be an instant pick coming out. That's the one of the 3 with the low hit points to deal with, and we'll see if we can capitalize on some more. But alas, with the recipe at hand here, Chief, the more bodies you got to throw in an equation, typically it works out favorably, and that gets them that 12th round.
And you could just see the difference. It's almost night and day. The Rams, they're comfortable and they understand that we don't need to peek anything. We don't need to over-aggress in any area. And they're confident with their crossfires. They had one person playing tree, one person playing on a window or sniper's nest area over there. And then on top of that, they had a player playing backside just in case they, fell apart and all the players died to their low HP. And there is at least one player hiding away. And it's the initiator as well, which, mind you, is it's a really, really good play, because you have the utility to re-clear sight with that sky. The flash is available, the trailblazer if you still have it. The utility's there for everyone as Bear is looking to find it. No! He doesn't get it with a judge.
Yeah. I'm going to be quite frank with you here, Chief. I think the bigger issue at hand really is just how effortless the Rams can get onto site. Like, there's no contest, and they're doing it in such a timely fashion when it comes to the clock. And on that note, as I'm saying timely, 13-1 is a very timely way to conclude a matchup of this nature. Rams take map 1 on Lotus.
I've been here in this place before. Higher on the street. No. It is 13-1, a stat line that we've seen before previously on EGF with TTL. It was also 13-1 on Ascent. It was just a absolute insane battle from the Rams. And even though the Rams are new, even though the Rams are a newer program and the players are just coming together, we can clearly see that the Rams are ready to bash forward, push in, and take everything that they need and want in this series, in this season even.
With you on that one. And in the spirit of program and being scheduled on time, that is episode 1 of the first season. On to episode number 2 here in a quick second. We have our next map coming shortly. So quick little break, little reshuffle, and don't go too far. Back to you with map 2 momentarily. Welcome back, everybody. Promise you it was going to be a quick one, and alas, it is. You just watched the conclusion of the map number 1 get rounded. That was the Rams taking the win on Lotus in a very stylistic fashion, 13-1, might I say. And we're moving now off to Nerds' next favorite 3-sided map, the good old-fashioned Hay. So let's see what the composition and agent selections have to say about this, and see what we can do with the Kraken situation, as they're definitely yearning to get their name on that board with a map win.
And this is going to be an interesting map. It is the Rams pick. So the Rams did pick this 3-sided map, but that doesn't mean the Krakens are done for it just yet. There's still a lot of potential. Locking in the Cypher. Now, that's an interesting play, but I think that on defense, it actually works out tremendously with the recent buffs and patches to him. I don't think it's that far off or that bad of a pick in general. I mean, you could really easily control 2 or 3 sites with his utility. Depending on the map. I feel like for Haven, you can't control 3 sites, but definitely maybe B and C with a lot of utility placed in that garage, maybe C main, camera on B site. It gives you a little bit of control everywhere and a lot of positioning for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to see this little selection go down the way that it is. It's a nice comp. I'm liking the approach, and I'm also happy to see a lot of similar picks to a certain extent, right? You got your KJ on C-Plex, you got a Logical on the Sova, you got your Rye guy sitting on the Breach. So, I mean, all is good here in terms of agents. All going to boil down to these initial couple rounds, right? I have a little bit of a nippy taste on my tongue from that Lotus matchup, and I really need to see Riverside Kraken squad bring that heat early on and make things a little bit more palatable and enjoyable to watch out.
That being said, there's going to be a mirror on the Omens for the controllers. Now, I think that Omen is really good on this map. Brimstone as well, but Omen has that verticality. He has that teleport, the shrouded step, to get him into positions that you couldn't normally get with another controller. And that's why I think Omen is the go-to choice for Haven, as they're going to be entering onto site already.
Mad. I mean, just going to go ahead and pick up where you left off and say that was one of the cleanest entries I've seen in a hot minute. I mean, the jet dash was impeccable, landing inside of the cloud burst at the most opportune time. The flash came into backside almost 1 second after, allowing Jet to peek, and then from there, 4 other people just showed up to the party, completely invited, with you know, a bag of nachos and some salsa, and said, "Hey, how's it going? I came here to party too." And with that, boom, site take was a deal for the Rams, and they make that round look darn near effortless. It seems like Nerds, to be honest, whatever site map that these guys have hit so far, albeit we're only 1 round deep into this Haven, and they've got a recipe for it, and it's darn near tasty.
Tasty indeed. I think that they're very good at executing, and they're very comfortable with their plays. The communication has got to be impeccable for their team as well. Being able to calm really quickly and process information. It seems as though it's either they're calming really quickly, or everyone in the team is just really, really in sync on playing around each other. Like, all this over aggression here from Denrank is not unmatched. The rest of the team is pushing with them, and the rest of the team is flashing for them and covering for them as well. You don't see that many team flashes. You don't see that many stumbles in utility. It's just very confident for all the players.
Mega, 100% agree with you, and you can see the confidence in the swingy. Logical goes absolutely Ferrari mode coming around the corner with the Bulldog in hand, and rightfully so, sir. Down to that 5 versus 2. Again, spike planted. Everyone is just completely locked down. They have the numbers to throw at the brick wall 50 times over. And they're just going to go ahead and anchor it as heavy as they can. Allow Kitten and Ko to come back on the retake here. Pop flash, but quick little fault line to deny that entry and cause some delays and chaos. The intention, of course, good sir, is to go for the save, and they're going to go ahead and lace it up and run away as a group of 5, just as efficiently as they got in as a group of 5.
In, out, did the objective, got everything they needed. Kitten trying to find an exit. Does not, just barely misses the exit. But it's going to be 2 Bulldogs and Spectres all around, and a broken buy for the Krakens. They just came off the conversion round, and it should be the bonus, which means that in theory, and you know, the caster brain, the game of Valorant, it's just the buy round, right? The losing team in this situation should have rifles and should have full utility, full rifles, full shields, but they don't. I believe they buyed the previous round, and that is going to make them stumble here As you can see, the early crossfires are set up, but look at all this utility. The shock coming out the fault line to slow them down, and then they see the utility come out from the Kraken side. They see the wall from Phoenix. That gives them all the information they need to not aggress, at least not through main. They're afraid and fearful of a demon with a marshal waiting on the other end.
So, and minute plus on the clock here. It's nice to see the Rams kind of being explorative, feeling things out, and they do benefit from the peak of James coming in, dashing in. Dianic opens up backside, and there's some verticality there from that Omen. So guess what? You're not going to go ahead and deal with any kind of cipher protection when you have an Omen looking down at you from above, just peering through the hooded dome. And it's down to Karmaka here, back and forth dancing. Raid got garage locked, and my goodness me, it is an absolute salsa, a dance of B-side occurring here from the Rams.
Cha cha cha, and that is going to be 3 rounds for the Rams. And I just want to note how that played out. Denak was able to push in super aggressively off the first contact. They got a pick and they took that instantly. The moment they got a pick, they just took the space, updrafting, dashing past the box on B to back site. And obviously, Karmaka was in an interesting position, hiding in the smoke, got pinched together by the Rams Omen near the end there. A tad unfortunate that kind of occurred, but still, it just goes to show how well the Rams are playing. That Omen was going there to specifically find the last player. They knew that it was their bonus, and they weren't really afraid in terms of the economy of losing to one player. They knew that if they had fallen there's still 4 other players. He would say, hey, I fell. You guys might want to play back, play more cautiously, which Illogical was not doing there. And that is why the Rams can win out the trade, coming out almost instantly for them.
Right guy taking the Riscaroni crouch tactic, but all's good here. There's plenty of support. Good to see though there was trade potential occurring at that mid cubby as well, and the Rams were there to back things up. There from the backside. Dianic, little bulldog action to deny the judge and the gavel from capitalizing. And with 46 seconds and the whole kip and caboodle ready to hit this A site, all but a KO is here to deal with the push coming in, and patience is a virtue here. Losing this KO at this point would be detrimental, so I'm hoping that Drift can survive. Oh, the flash comes out! C-Plex, though, is on a bit of a lurky lurk. That's a huge capitalization from the Rams.
I was about to say this pinch worked out so well for C-Plex. He just snuck up through B, took all that space, and was able to bamboozle the Krakens. And I mean, we've been here in this place before. Rams, 4 rounds up. Nothing has been answered yet by the Krakens. The call has not been picked up just yet. And it's another broken buy. It just baffles me sometimes, you know, the economy doesn't work out. Broken buys are dubious at best, and I would say that because if you can win out, I mean, that's great. You have a really good strategy, but up against such a dominant team, I don't know how that plays out. Thankfully, though, the Rams aren't ones to instantly aggress. They're on attack. You know, they were super aggressive on defense, but they know when to push in and when not to push in. They're going to wait for that first contact before they make space.
Absolutely, indeed. And they're good at being diligent. They're good at being calculated. And with that spike down towards spawn, you can sense the default. You just know that they're looking to catch off Riverside Krakens with an out-of-position play like they did 2-3 rounds ago on that B pick to opener. And it's nice. You hit on a high note for me too, which is C-Plex's B-Lurk. That's just a great way to catch rotates off in a big map like this. And it's almost inherent to cut through B when you're trying to rotate through A just for the sake of saving time if you are a C player. But alas, having felt out the default and had to look towards long A, the group up now occurring down through garage and long C with rotates being cheated early from Riverside Kraken. Ready to deny this, but we'll see how that works out. Cheems catches off that recon dart, but Dianic again being at such a forward and active Jet getting right on site and buying that space for the plant to go down.
And now with the spike down, the post plant needs to be perfect. Kitten opens things up for the Krakens. They have the player advantage. Logical taking it away almost instantly. Unlikely to see any ultimates here. Unfortunately, Cplex is just doing numbers, picking players off. And look at this setup here. They have everything. They have Cplex on the back end. You have that Sentinel utility, right? You're covering the flank, but you're also allowing them to play further back for those mollies, for those nano swarms. You have the confidence in your player to hold off on their own, and they're able to grab some for the road. That being said, the crossfire has been set up. The Rams, they're really comfortable here. All the players are looking at the correct angles. Does Omen get out here? Yes, Omen is able to get out. On my screen, he teleported back onto C and was able to come back. But they keep 3 players alive.
They keep their round streak alive here, nerds. 5-0 now, hitting a timeout, coming out from Riverside Kraken. Conversation needs to occur. And good, I agree. And I mean, little bit of a note from my end is what I'm loving from the Rockford Rams is not only they're surviving, but they're keeping some of those critical players alive for the post plants, right? They're allowing the, I don't want to say less useful, because by no means is that the case. This whole team is useful, but keeping some of that utility-based agents around makes things just that much easier, right? You got your KJ for, like you said, for the nano swarms. You got your Omen for the smokes and offering protection down long C or some of the major choke points as the smokes come back up towards the tail end of a plant like that. So it's all about keeping the right people alive and the right utility alive to capitalize, and the Rams do a great job of that, and Krakens don't have a response for it seems like.
And I think this is why they're timing out right now. They need to rethink their strategy. They haven't been buying together. They haven't been playing together. Up against a snowball like this, you're going to need to start hurting their economy. Now, traditionally in Val economies, if you're going to on the back burner, you want to get at least 3 players down, hopefully 4. Obviously, if you get 5, you win out. But if you're going to lose, you're at least trying to look to get that 3-piece McNugget, because at the end of the day, you need to have some sort of like damage to their economy. They need to start losing those credits, and if they can't carry over 3 rifles, they're already starting to lose some of their credits. Sure, they win the round, but they need to have the most of the team needs to buy up so they can all be at the same level of weaponry.
110% echoing your thoughts here, and this might be that round 1 replay to run it back again to see what they can do. Fragment here blocks off the entry point, but that's a little bit too late there. Rye Guy's already got side entry. They're dashing out of the smoke. Dianic has already got so much space cover towards backside, and one by one they cascade in. Waterfall belongs on Lotus, but it seems like the Krakens here waterfalling onto that A site right into the crosshairs of the Rockford Rams. And there is presence available from the defensive squad, but might be too little too late as this 5v3 continues to flourish in its fullest.
Flourish in the fullest. A beautiful line indeed. There's the trade back and forth. The Rams, you know, that timeouts work for both teams. One team can rethink their strategy and think about how they're going to win out. So can the other. The other team can. Well, let's see if it'll pay dividends here. Karmika is looking to find someone. They're trying to go for a cheeky knife, but it's better to secure it. Rye Guy does just that. 3 players left. I mean, again, your goal is to keep minimum 3 players alive to keep building that economy. 2 players, you're starting to lose that economy. In general, they did that. The Rams are confident there. And I wouldn't be surprised that the Krakens lost that round. They didn't have such a good buy, but I think that this is where we're going to start seeing that strategy. We're going to start seeing that timeout pay up because they have a buy now. Everyone has weaponry. They have mostly full shields and hopefully enough util to win out. 3 ultimates on the board, 1 for information, another one for attacking, and another one for information. The neural theft and the cabbages can go out at the same time. Illogical opens things up. There's 1 down.
Trades back and forth. I mean, strengths on both fronts there coming down towards short. I like what I saw, but felt like Rockford was just a little bit more on top of their trade game, really swinging as a group versus Kraken's passivity. And on that note, as much as short control is interesting, the real action's happening towards this A site as James has already gone ahead and popped that running back and now does indeed need to run on through into sight. Wall comes out of heaven. Nano Swarm is a contest, but it's no bueno as the crosshairs lock on to Cheems' forehead. And on that note, despite every attempt and every bit of a change-up that Riverside Kraken is throwing at the side of the Rams, nothing is clicking, nothing is jiving, and they're just having a really hard time getting that foot into the ground.
Place to stand on, something to work off of. I mean, so many synonyms, but nothing can be brought up. It's just a difficult situation, and it's a repeat. The Rams have been dominant in the previous series, and they're dominant in this one as well. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's just at this point, going up against such a dominant team, you got to be starting to try different strategies. Hide in a corner, see if you can get a couple of picks early. I mean, you're going up against such a aggressive team. You're trying to play your best Valorant, and they're just able to run it in every single time and play together. At least try what Cheems is doing here, right? You want to get some eco frags, and you don't. At least you tried something. At least you did something here, and that is going to be another round for the Rams.
It's another round, another day, another dollar. It feels like for Rockford High School, just giving me the good vibes and the good feels. Right? We talked about it, and we're gonna go back as we're teetering towards the end of this first half. Take a little trip down memory lane towards the beginning of this best of three series that we talked about. The I guess the dark horses or the newer team on the block per se. And for Riverside Kraken, we said there might be something brewing, and it takes time to jive as a team and find some synergy. So, they're just getting their feet wet. This is their first game of Valorant really in EGFH altogether. So, again, patience is a virtue. It takes time to build up that team synergy and get to the place of where the Rams are. And they're definitely going to walk away out of here with a lot of great notes and things to converse about. So, in terms of strategy, though, conversation for the Rams is run it down, rinse and repeat. The same jet dash, the same aggression, the same B take, followed up by smokes and such is the telltale recipe for success for this attacker team.
And I mean, it's going to be the last player left. Cheems looking to get aggressive here, but out of all the sites, B is one of the easier ones to retake. And you're playing against such a dominant team, maybe trying to keep everyone alive for that retake as a strategy. It's another broken buy for the Krakens here, as the economy has it's plateaued at the peak for the Rams. Every single player is going to max out except for Denak, but at the end of the day, they have the rest of their team to play off of if they cannot buy a weapon, and 4K creds to boot as well.
Hi, Captain. It's good times in Rockford Rams world, but we'll see what we can do. Some change up in terms of util. Danik just reading the room so well, just ignoring every bit of Cypher wire control, dashing in on site as back-end control. And again, the smokes are available, and it's so nice to see the team synergy. However, quick mobility out of Riverside. They've already managed to shift some bodies over, ready to B pinch again and looking to enter with Cheems, hopefully. But there is a lot of up and downs to be worried about. You can see Raid on the top, down below in the back side. There is protection as well for the Rams to deny any kind of major side entry potential. Cheems running through, backside control, fighting for it. Do we get it? Yes, we do indeed, as the Phoenix does pick up that fantastic pick onto Jet. Raid, though, has got backside under lock and key. Cheems is having to reload, and that is just unfortunate timing, as it allows Rye Guy for the 1 and the 2 wombo combo to clean up house and get the Rams their 10th round.
Well, how just, I mean, we've been watching this game for so long, and it's been chaos everywhere.
Has it though? I feel like to a certain extent, yes, it's been chaotic, but to a certain extent, I also feel it's been kind of serene to watch the play style of the Rams.
The Rams can control their chaos. It's been chaos on the Kraken side, and I just don't know what to, like, any words of wisdom to impart on these players. It's difficult to go up against a team like this. Even I, as a caster, have a difficult time trying to fully elaborate the current situation for the Krakens. For the Rams, it's relatively easy. They're just playing everything perfectly. They have their crossfire set up. They have 4 players hiding back there. They don't need to be playing on B site. They're playing off long. They have their duelist aggressing and making sure that all that space that they have isn't contested. And they have all the rest of their teammates playing back and keeping that spike alive. They're playing everything perfectly, and going up against a perfect team, it's difficult. How do you win out against a team that's playing this well?
You need a lot of heat to come in with it there, nerds. I mean, I think it's going to take more than just a game to be played, if that makes sense. You're going to have to be playing the game of 2 to 3 teams worth in this one matchup, because the momentum not only in this game is insane, but coming off of the win on Lotus and knowing just how upfront and in your face the Rams can be, it's hard to manage. You can see just how much is going on that B site, for example, on the Rams dash in. You have Jet coming at you full send, you have Rolling Thunder, and that sends Jet boop in the wrong direction, but it doesn't really matter. They still managed to get a pick off of it, at least on the KO for the most part.
I was gonna say this is the first time we saw a little bit of a team misplay here, and that's gonna be, I think their overconfidence is starting to show, because the Rams are not looking good here. It's the last round, you can't be winning it here. Cplex is trying to find the clutch. There's the lockdown as well. He finds the 3-piece for themselves. I think it's gonna be a detain right now. Yes, one player gets detained. They don't know exactly where they are. Looking for it, they find them. And even through a misplay on the team, a 3-player deficit because of the Phoenix, they're able to come together, push in, and win out 12-0 in the half. A clean sweep the entire way through.
Insane. What a great little series for the Rams. I mean, it's a great little momentum booster for them in the season. I mean, for the Krakens, as their first go at this EGFH season, also a round of applause. I'm not going to go ahead and dismiss anything that's been put forward so far. They've been up front, contesting, fighting, taking risks, changing their play style, utilizing timeouts, all the things that are critical to great sportsmanship and great positive growth in esports, and that's notable to me. I'm not going to forget about that. And as we see the season go on, there's going to be more and more growth and more development of this team as a whole. It just takes time, nerds, and we're cognizant of that. We'll see what we can do with this final round this half. Do we get the Kraken come back, getting their footing in and getting a little bit messy here, some more opportunities to establish themselves in the season of EGFH?
Well, they're going to need to bring something here. They're going to need to bring something out. There's that guiding light going out, hopefully to find players. They're on the defense now. We saw them play defensively earlier. The Rams did an amazing job taking space and being aggressive, but it's time for the Krakens to get a Kraken. They need to do something here. Cplex instantly stops them and slows it down. Denak is able to get another, and that is going to be a defuse. As fast as it comes, as fast as it goes. I mean, hats off to Krakens for playing it out. Every loss is a learning opportunity, but it is a hard one indeed.
Yeah, that wraps up this best of 3 series in a very monumental fashion. The Rams, as you said, nerds, take this one 2-0. We don't get to see that third map of Ascent, but that's okay. It's not a major concern. We got a taste of 2 fantastic maps here in this series, and I'm yet again keen to see how this number 1 place team in this division continue on in the rest of the season.
And I love the chat, seeing it. GG's to everyone. The sportsmanship is it's unbeatable. It's always good to have good sportsmanship. It's always good to be nice to everyone else. And that's what we're all here for at EGFH. It is a tough battle to go up against opponents that are so dominant, but it is good and refreshing to see these teams being friendly with one another. And that being said, 1-26. A stat line that I have never seen. I thought that 226 would be, I think it was not 226. I believe it was like 426 previously would be an insane stat line that I thought I'd never see. But 126 is one that that's the 25 round difference.
It's a lot. And it's something to be cognizant about, as like we said, we get through the latter portion of the season. But alas, we're gonna go ahead and take a very quick break here. Potential interview around the corner. If not, you'll see us back here to nod you off. So don't go too far. Back to you here shortly in a moment.